Dead horses. This was the second time I dreamed of them. The ceiling above was pale and white. I realized this as I stared at it for several minutes, laying in bed silently. Dead horses in your dreams means that something in your life that initially offered you strength is now gone, or is about to be gone. But what could it be? After slipping on some jeans, socks, an undershirt, a college sweatshirt, I headed down the carpeted stairs. "Good morning, Violet," my mother called from the kitchen. "I have a surprise for you." I headed into the kitchen. The first thing I noticed was a large wooden box sitting on the table. Its edges were designed with golden roses, and a golden keyhole was in the center of the side where you open it. "What is this?" I asked, running my finger along the box's surface, only to find dust covering my fingertips. "It's a welcoming gift that the lady from the antique store gave to us. She gave it away for free." She smiled warmly as she chopped tomatoes on the cutting board. I looked around the table. "Where's the key to open it?" "The key," I mumbled to my mom. She pulled out a crimson and golden key from the pocket of her apron and handed it to me. "Take it up to your room." Her voice was serious as she said this. "Now." I nodded and picked up the large box in my arms, slowly making my way up the stairs. It felt like 10 years had passed by the time I reached my bedroom. What is in this thing that makes it so heavy? "Let's see what's inside," I murmured to myself. I gently slid the key into the keyhole before turning it, hearing a loud click. The lid slowly opened with a creaking sound. I was surprised by what was inside the box, though. Dolls! The inside of the box was white and cushioned, but laying in it were 4 dolls. They weren't normal dolls either. They were large, fancy porcelain dolls, and they looked very realistic. Each of them had on an elegant dress. The first one had a red one. The second had a green. The third had beige. And the fourth had black. But on each of their necklaces was a small red rose. I picked up the first one, stroking its blonde hair that was in a long braid. The hair felt so real. Its silver eyes stared back at me, making a shiver go down my spine. I set it back in the box and lifted the second one. Its long brown hair flowed all the way down to its feet. Its eyes were a deep green. The third had white, curly hair with matching icy blue eyes. But it was the last one that intimidated me. Its cherry red hair was weaved into 2 braids that laid down its shoulders, and its eyes were a deep brown, almost black. 4 beautiful and lifelike dolls, each with little white gloves on their hands and black shiny shoes. What could I possibly do with these dolls? Play with them? I'm 16, for crying out loud. So I closed the box and slid it under my bed before setting the key on top of my dresser. I looked at the clock. It was time to go. I knocked on the door of my boyfriend's house. It was only a couple of blocks down the road. We had been dating for 2 years, but we've never been intimate. He opened the door, his blue eyes staring at me happily, his dark hair in a wonderfully curly mess. "Hi, Vi." He took me into his arms, guiding me into the house before closing the door with his foot. "Hi, Daniel." I smiled sheepishly as he put me on the carpeted floor. Then he kissed me gently, brushing his fingers against my cheek. That's when I knew what he wanted. I pulled away, my cheeks turning red. Immediately, his phone rang. I grabbed it from off the end table next to the couch and answered it. "Hello?" I said politely. "Don't come back here!" Mom screamed into the phone, fear ringing in her voice. "Run away as far as you can." I was about to respond before Daniel interrupted me. "Stop!" I hissed under my breath before trying to speak normally. "Mom, what's going on?" "They're real, Vi, and..." Then there was static. "Wait!" I called into the phone. "Daniel, I have to go." No, he said weakly before smashing his lips against mine. But as much as I wanted to stay, I had to go home. My mom is in trouble. What do you mean, Vi? His voice was gentle now. She's being attacked. I don't know who or what it is, but I have to save her. Before he could respond, I opened the door and darted outside. I ran as fast as I possibly could, and it felt like only 10 seconds before I reached my house. It was silent there. All the lights in the houses on our street were turned off, but the moon still shone brightly. I opened our front door and stepped inside slowly. The house looked the same, though. It was still clean and everything, but I wasn't fooled. Tap. I heard tapping coming from the kitchen. It was dark in there. Tap. I slowly walked toward the kitchen, reaching my hand to the light switch. Tap. Thud. Fear overcoming me, I flipped the light switch on. There was blood. Blood everywhere. The white surfaces of the counter was covered in blood, and so was the cabinets. There was something on the table, too. It was a torn-up body. My mom. No! I screamed, dropping to my knees. This realization hit me like a wave. She's dead. Dead. Thud. 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 I turned my head slowly to face the stairs, seeing movement coming from the darkness. Thud. 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 A head dropped from the last stair step and rolled, landing right in front of me. It was my next-door neighbor. I stood up and stepped backwards, my arms shaking from the sight. "What's going on?" I shouted. "Where are you? Show yourself!" There was no response, just silence. It was clawing at my ears. I began to walk up the stairs, my footsteps silent on the soft carpet. As I reached the top of the stairs, I heard a door slam shut. My shaking legs forced me to turn into the hallway, but I stopped immediately. Bodies. Dead bodies were nailed to the side of the walls, all the way down the hallway. Blood seeped onto the floor from their chests. I screamed, tears streaking my cheeks as I walked down the hallways, careful not to touch them. But as I opened my bedroom door and shoved it open, a pain emerged in my head, like something hit me. I fell onto the ground as my bedroom door continued to open slowly, my eyes closing. But I forced them open for one last second as blood dripped down my forehead. The only thing I saw in my bedroom were the 4 dolls, standing in a perfect row and smiling at me.